Good evening and welcome to the 11 o'clock update for Tropical Storm Isaias. This is the 11 p.m. update with the weather guru. Isaias continues to slowly approach the southeast Florida coast, and currently winds remain sustained at 70 miles per hour. Pressure's at 995 millibars, so the pressure has risen since the last advisory, and the winds have come down to 70 miles an hour. Sustained winds, that is, have come down to 70 miles an hour. There's a lot of convection heavy on the northeast side and on the southeast side, and almost zero convection on the western side and southwestern quadrant of the storm. And that's mostly because of heavy dry air and heavy wind shear that we told you that was going to be affecting this storm as of the advisory. So the next advisory will be at 5 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and at which point Isaias is expected to become a minimal hurricane back up to 75 miles per hour, but I don't think it'll be able to do that because it's already weakening despite the central convection, as you can see on this storm, mostly on the northeast and southeastern side of the Bahamas. The storm will continue to move in the northwest direction, but it is slowing down tremendously. As a matter of fact, the latest discussion here is about the slow movement of the storm. It's only moving northwest at 9 miles an hour, so it is crawling toward the Florida coast. And as a matter of fact, it may almost appear stationary there. Overnight hours coming up from about, let's say, 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. The storm may actually stall out a bit along the coast without making landfall. And normally that would be a situation where a storm will have strengthening, but because Isaias is fighting so many different things against it, it's not going to strengthen that much further. And so we anticipate this to be a minimal hurricane, if not tropical storm, and only those along the immediate coastline will get some of these rotating bands, these showers that may bring a few tropical storm force gusts, but sustained winds will be below tropical storm force. That means below 39 miles an hour sustained winds. And maybe some gusts occasionally will get 40 or 50 miles an hour. And gusts are just a quick burst of wind, like a quick minute burst of wind that may approach 40 to 50 miles an hour on some of these coastal communities from Melbourne Beach, Cocoa, Satellite Beach, Vero Beach, West Palm Beach, Jupiter Inlet, Hobb Sound, West Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale, Coral Springs, etc. So, Florida, after tomorrow, you're pretty much in the clear for this Isaias system, and it will parallel the coast moving north, very much akin to Hurricane Matthew. Central pressure should be coming up tomorrow as well. I anticipate central pressure to be around 996, 997 tomorrow, and winds will continue to remain around 60 to 70 miles an hour, give or take a few miles an hour. But to me, this will be a tropical storm, which it is. We predicted that earlier in the show. And it will continue to weaken as it's already being affected by so much dry air entrainment, so much wind shear. And if you notice, most of the convection, the higher up clouds, the cirrus clouds here, you notice that on the upper east side of the Bahamas is being blown away, and the center is trying to reform underneath that. You know, it's a big blow up of convection, but it's just not going to be able to do it. As you can see, these strong winds pulling across Florida from a southwesterly direction, just tearing the storm apart. So whatever does form is going to be short-lived. And then we had this big anticyclonic clockwise flow around Cuba that the storm is entrenched in that as well. And so it's just not going to be a pretty picture here. Rip current warnings will remain for Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, and other areas. Let me give you another view of this storm here on radar here. We're going to go switch the view here to another view. I want to show you another view here if I can. Let's see here. I want to give you the view. Here is the view of the southeast coast. As you can see these clouds, you can see this direction of the southwesterly shear and this upper level trough extending, moving north over the northeast and over the mid-Atlantic. And that's what's going to steer, this current right here is going to steer Tropical Storm Isaias out to sea before it reaches after it reaches the Outer Banks, North Carolina, is going out to sea. And no one else is going to be affected, and the storm will dissipate out to sea. So that's the forecast that we have here. And there's Isaias. One more view of Isaias at nighttime. You can see the light pollution here from the lights. But you can see on this satellite view, you see a big blob of Isaias here. Very disorganized in the different quadrants here. But it's basically almost stationary here. It's moving northwest at 9 miles per hour. And it should be affecting Bimini Island and Freeport, Bahamas. and they're getting tropical storm force winds, but nothing of hurricane force winds here with this system as of yet. And if there is hurricane force winds in this system, we're looking at maybe 10 miles, if that, of hurricane force winds. Very small, but we don't have that here because central pressure is at 995 millibars and rising. As far as the discussion goes, the Hurricane Center has said, of course, we see deep convection has increased, but the strength has not really increased because of what's going on with these interactions. So the weaker system is here. Carolinas, I would be concerned for you guys, mostly just because you're going to get the majority of the rain, meaning from Charleston up to Folly Beach, Myrtle Beach, and Wilmington, and the Outer Banks. And even then, out of this system, you may only get 3 or 4 inches of rain total. It's not like a big 10-inch rain thing or anything like that in this area. So from these points up here in the Carolina, worry, because once it goes north, the system will curve out to sea and create just a little band of showers and a few tropical storm force winds, maybe in the 30-40 mile an hour range, but nothing too crazy is going to be forecasted here. Florida, you may actually have a partly sunny day with just occasional little bands coming through Fort Lauderdale and Cape Canaveral and Jacksonville. But tomorrow and Sunday may actually be a pretty good, decent weekend. It may be breezy still, but it may actually be a pretty good, decent weekend if this thing stays offshore like I have it forecast, like Matthew. So it's going to come up like this. Watch my mouse. It's going to come up like this, and then it's going to pull hard out to sea, just like that. Now that pull transition probably won't happen till Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon, and so that's when it's going to do it, and it's going to stall tonight. So right now it's slowing down northwest at 9 miles an hour. We expect it to stall, the movement to stall even lower than that, maybe down to 5, maybe down to stationary, before paralleling the coast and being picked up by this deep level trough here that's already extended in the southeast. So expect it to be stationary tomorrow. Expect it to continue to weaken and deteriorate. Winds should come down tomorrow at the 8 a.m. advisory to 60 miles an hour or less. But, then again, the Hurricane Center may keep it at a minimal hurricane because of the convection that is now at least appearing over the center. The deep convection here. You see these deep thunderstorms are appearing over the center. The center was exposed earlier today. So that is the official forecast model. Stay tuned for here. We'll be back with more tomorrow. Be blessed.